morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's live Q&A question and answer chat for YouTube and live streaming. My brain is so out of kilter today. It's so out of kilter. Usually my desk is really tidy. It is not tidy today, okay? So it's actually doing things. So you may or may not notice, but this live stream's running an hour later for me. So if you are in Australia, it is running an hour later. So if you're in Queensland, it's 10 o'clock. If you're in the southern states, it's 11 o'clock and vice, add exponential on Monday morning. Whereas in the US, I'm hoping we are back to the 7 p.m. Eastern, if I've done my math redos right, which may not be the case, but I've certainly tried, okay? So, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Something I do want to talk about really quickly is, like, am I the only one who didn't realize that even when you're logged in with your same email into your browser, so like, you've got this user, that your browser extensions don't come with when you change device. So I've upgraded the system here from an M1 Mac Mini 16 gigabyte, which I've had for years, which has been fantastic. Just last week to an M4 Pro Mac Mini, which it's a bit stressful, but I did it. I went out and met up with Doug last week and we had lunch when I dropped my laptop off to the doctors. He's back now and he's very happy. And it's now actually running better than it's ever run. So I'd say there'd been a problem from the start and I didn't know it. But yeah, now it's super duper. So, but yeah, I just assumed that I have to log into the correct account for my browsers so that I can have all my bookmarks. But it doesn't bring your extensions over. So I probably am the only person who didn't know that. So I've gone through and set up, my, the Nick Nimmin browser, what's that called? Create a dashboard, on the old computer. So now I'm going to have to go through and do that again on the new computer. Doug's saying here, it depends on the browser and whether the extensions are from the store or not. So the one that really the two, one was the Nick Nimmin one, which was a bit more manual. So I kind of like, oh, well, I get that. But the other one is the one that we use here for Social Stream Ninja. So I don't really know why. So if anyone can let me know why it doesn't carry that, that would be great, because I just assumed it did. Like bookmarks, that the browsers were there. You might need to, toggle them off or on or something, but I've had to go and find my browsers and I'm gonna have to go and reset everything all back up again. So little things. One thing I will say about the Mac experience transferring from one computer to another is it was actually pretty painless, which shocked me. I don't know why it shocked me. I think because the last time I did a transfer, that it was from PC to the Mac Mini, and that was anything but painless. Whereas it was just a straight up transfer across. The only thing that I really had to do was my Mac Mini M4 was on, I don't even remember what it was called, the one before Tahoe, whereas my M1 was on Tahoe, and I just had to make sure they were both on the same one. So I upgraded the new one to the Tahoe. And then other than that, it was lickety-split danskis. One thing I'll say is it has prompted me to purchase a Thunderbolt cord. I didn't actually own one. Luckily enough, I had a spare little Ethernet cord that did speed things up, made the data transfer quite quick. But aside from that, it's been like a nothing burger. like, oh yeah, you've just had to upgrade and spend, a rather large swatch of cash on a new computer, but it's like, cool. One huge thing that I had was one of the reasons why I could have just waited for my laptop, but I couldn't wait, if that makes any sense. So when I upgraded the M1 to the M4, I've been doing some video renders for client work, and they were taking. No, Leanne, it's live. It's live, honey. We started late. We started at 10 a.m. Brisbane time to match up with the 7 p.m. Eastern. We're live. You're not late. You're actually like, we only started 5 minutes ago. But yeah, so one of the things was that the renders on the M1 were taking like an hour, 45 minutes an hour. On the new one, similar size files, same sorts of, nothing, maybe a couple of minutes longer or shorter because they slightly vary, but same sort of overall, like there's no major transitionings or crazy things that are different. 10 to 15 minutes. I'm just like, wait, what now? And the thing I love about that is, like, when you're rendering on your computer, you can't really use it for anything else. Otherwise, you're taking up the precious, memory and space. So you kind of got to just walk away and leave it alone. So I was off doing other things or doing things on my laptop, but I didn't have my laptop when I was first doing this. So instead of being able to like go off and do something for an hour, I'm like, right, I got 10 minutes. So I'd like whip into the kitchen and like scrub a drawer or like, do a row on not even a row, but like part of a row on a crochet blanket I'm working on, or, whereas like before I'd be like, oh, I've got an hour, I'm going to go and do this laundry and I'm going to do this other thing and blah, 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 and come poke my head in. Oh, yeah, it's still going, kick off doing other things. So yeah, no, this time around I was actually able to knock some stuff over really fast, which was so cool. So I'm down to my last two, which I have to do today, which I'm super excited about because, well, the last two of this batch, there might be another batch. So fingers crossed there's another batch. But yeah, so it's all been a lot of fun and I've really enjoyed it. Really stretching my my editing sort of muscles again, which is, because I do a lot of live streaming, I don't really do much in the way of editing. So haven't done lately anyway. So yeah, so that's been really nice, really like catching back up on what's happening in Premiere Pro and learning some of the new features that they've got. One thing I always loved about Premiere Pro and most of the editing softwares is how easy it is to sync up multiple audio clips or multiple clips by their audio, and Premiere Pro just make that so simple. It's just like a button click. But yeah, so I've been looking at like some of the stuff that Adobe have been announcing because they've just had Adobe Max and they were at Vid Summit as well. And now like I'm actually pretty excited for some of the stuff that's coming out. Like, yeah, just really like there's always been a couple of little things like I've really loved enhanced speech since it's been out. It's not perfect. Actually, funnily enough, a friend of mine, she has a crafting channel. She does sewing machine stuff, like sewing. And she'd been using the enhanced speech and she was trying to work out where this voice was coming from. And you know how like the noise of sewing machines, like they're going ding, 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 like when it's stitching? Well, it was trying to make each one of those a word. So it sounded like a man talking. And it was just like, it was like nearly like a ghost kind of thing. So you couldn't quite work out what it was saying, but it was trying to talk. And it was the weird, I'm like, oh, sweetie, like your machine is trying to talk to you there. Because she posted it on socials like, oh my God, this scared the crap out of me. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Anyway, I was just like, look, it starts at 7 out of 10. You need to slide that slider all the way down to like 2 or 3. Otherwise it starts getting a bit, well, creates a ghost in the room when you've got a sewing machine, so it seems. But yeah, so like it's been really good, just sort of getting back into it. I sort of, like those of you that have been around for a while, you know that I de-Adobe'd my life, right? I got rid of everything Adobe. I didn't need it. I was editing on Final Cut Pro. I was using Affinity, like I'm going to talk about Affinity later, but I was using Affinity for like Photoshop and all that sort of stuff. I'd gone back to Canva to utilize some Canva features. And so I de-Adobe'd my life. So I had Final Cut Pro was a one-off payment. The Affinity Suite was a one-off payment. The big, like, subscription was going back to paid Canva. And then this job sort of come in and they're like, well, the catch is you have to be on Adobe. And it was just like, oh man, really? Really? And I didn't realize it, but I'd kind of missed Adobe. And like there was a couple of little things, a couple of little like creating documents for people to sign was so much easier on like using Adobe. Oh my gosh, Acrobat. That's the thing. But yeah, just using the Adobe suite for stuff again. I'm like, oh man, like it's ouchy. In Australia, it's $113 a month for the full suite. So that's that's like a serious few hours of work that I have to do every month just to pay for software. And just to pay for that software. That doesn't include any other software that I need to pay for. Just that one. And so yeah, it was a tough call. But I'm really glad I did it because like as Frankie's saying here, there's some major updates coming to Premiere Pro, and from what I'm seeing, these look phenomenal. They just look so amazing. And Frankie, I was looking at just getting Premiere Pro, but it was like $50 just for Premiere Pro, like $47 or something just for Premiere Pro, and I needed Premiere Pro and Photoshop. So I was just like, oh man, it actually, like if you need two, you may as well pay the extra $10 and get the full suite. And you're just like, this is so dumb. Anyway, I was really lucky. Adobe had been, sending me the whole like, oh, please come back. Here is a discount code for some months. And so I've taken them up on that. But yeah, so it's always worth checking those things out. It's if you commit for 12 months, you can pay monthly at $36 a month. Yeah, I rounded that up to the nearest 40. So yeah. But I also needed, because I needed Premiere Pro and Photoshop. And they used to do, was it a Premiere Pro, a Photoshop and Lightroom bundle, like back in the day? But they don't do a Premiere Pro and Photoshop bundle, which, hello, like that's all most creators need is those, and that's probably why they don't do it. Because they're like, why would we get the full suite? We could just have these two and save $30 a month. Or $20 or whatever it is. No, it is 30. It's 30. But anyway, so, it's just does your head in just a little bit with these subscriptions. But I'm really glad I'm back. And some of the upgrades look fantastic. They really do. Trying Photoshop as it's free and you can import Photoshop. Trying Photopea or Photopea. I don't know, is it Pea or P? For some reason I'm thinking Pea. Anyway, Photopea as it's free and you can import Photoshop files, because that's the big thing. Being able to transfer the files from one thing to another, and not just have to start all over again. That's the huge thing. But because I'm doing a lot of work that is like part of a team, the whole team is in the same software and we're just, it's a lot easier. I did at one stage, there's like this walkthrough where you can transfer Premiere Pro files into Final Cut. But the hilarious thing about that is you've actually got to open them in DaVinci, then resave them and then send them. Like there's something in DaVinci that converts the files so that you can then resave it into for Final Cut, but it doesn't bring across everything, and it just wasn't worth the hassle of like opening it in this, resaving it, moving it on, opening in that, adding all those things back in. But yeah, it's just bizarre. It's just a little bit on the nose. But what I wanted to talk about was like Affinity and the Affinity Pro. Like I signed up for Affinity, like I bought their full package for across multiple devices earlier this year. So about 8 months, maybe not even 8 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And now it's free. And I'm just sort of sitting there like, well, that's rude. Like, seriously, that's rude. You've got these people who've just paid for it, and now it's free as long as you've got a Canva login. And it's like, oh, man. I obviously didn't do enough research. I thought I thought I had, but I obviously had not done enough research to understand that, because I at the time I didn't know Canva had bought it, and so that's a big. If I had seen that, I would have been like big red flag. What's going to be changing? But at the time, I didn't realize Canva had bought it until after I'd already paid for it. But yeah, it's one of these crazy things where you're just like, really, really. So that's the downside of needing like there's so many softwares and things like that. One thing I'll say is, but is the free version? Look, I don't know, Doug. I haven't even looked at it. I'm feeling a little jaded by the whole thing. That, and I've been ridiculously busy, and the only real time I've had to sort of not be at this desk, because I've these edits that I've been needing to do. They've been like get them done kind of thing. I leave. I don't bring a laptop. I just go and step away and give my eyes a break from computer screens. So I haven't even had a chance to have a good look. I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that, and I'm kind of hoping it's not. like I'm just so mean. I'm like, I don't want them to have the full thing. That's not fair. But the reality is this company can do whatever it wants with its stuff. I did get 6 months out of it. The pricing still worked out to be better for 6 months of, if I worked out what I paid for the total price. I originally planned it out over the 12-month period. Like, will I make my, will I save that amount? I would have saved it in 6 months anyway. I can't remember what I paid for it. Let me just see. I paid for it on my, I don't know which email account, but I know which bank account. So I'm going to check the bank app. Just double checking my phone's not on camera. I don't need you all seeing my bank details. Okie dokie, let me just go into here. That one. So let's search. Can I search? I would like to search within this section here. There we go. There's a button for it. Is it Serif? I think is the maybe Affinity. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. I paid $224. I think that was. I'm just seeing if that was Australian dollars. So basically, that's less than 2 months of 2 months of Premiere Pro. So not Premiere Pro of the Adobe Suite. So it still came out on top. I still came out on top. For some reason in my brain, I had it that I spent about $400, but I didn't. So yeah. So it's still better. I still saved because I used it for like 6 or 7 months, and it was the cost of 2 months. So yeah. Let's have a look here. Hey, Livestream Consultants, great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Oops, I wanted to bring that on screen and I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. It's amazing how when you click the right thing, sometimes it works. Shocking, I know. So yeah, so let me know in the chat, do you sometimes feel a little bit overwhelmed by all of the subscriptions that you need or don't need, or all the different softwares that you feel you need? Because I'm just trying to think through some of the ones that I regularly use, which is like the Adobe Suite now. It is Opus Clip. It's My Website Costs. My Google business email addresses or accounts, like what do they call them? They're not Google One anymore. What are they? I don't even know. But anyway, I've got 2 of those. Like it just, you think about it, it just starts cranking up. My internet, which, how do I put this? I would still have internet if I wasn't doing this as my business. I might just ratchet it down a notch, save a bit of cash there. But in saying that, I'm actually pretty happy with my internet plan. I'm going to have about every 3 months, every 3 to 6 months, I'll actually go through my business bank account. So Like I go through it more often than that, but I go through it with the eye of what are the subscriptions that I'm paying for? And do I still use them? Because sometimes we'll sign up to something for free and forget to cancel. So let me just have a look here. An Audible account that I could have sworn I cancelled last month, but I'm going to have to double check that now. Oh, my big app. Genius Link is another one, and it's one of those things where it scales its pricing, right? So you've got the set amount each month, and then if you get X number of searches or sales through it or whatever it is, clicks on it, it'll creep up. It'll sort of go up, but it doesn't go up until you start making more money out of it. So I'm absolutely okay with that, and I'll keep paying for that. So there's that. Let me look here. So I've got G Suite. I've got my email, my internet. I've got Adobe, which is currently $56 a month for the next few months. Let me look at what else I've got here. They're my monthly ones. I'm just having a look. I do have some annual ones. So the one of the things that I do to try and save a bit of money is where possible, I pay for things annually. So I've got Streamlabs annually. I've got Ecamm annually. I've got, what else? Oh, I've got Prime. I use Amazon Prime a lot, so I've got the annual for that. My website things, like my email, URLs and stuff, they're all annual as well. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Frankie says, yeah, I've found trying to cancel them. Sometimes they offer you discounts they wouldn't normally advertise, like Talk Studio. I now pay $5 a month, but they didn't offer it publicly. Absolutely. Like, I went in last week and I was being a bit cheeky because someone had mentioned something, and so I thought sorry, I've just looked at my stress watch and it says, oh, it's turned off. It's great. I love this. It's like at the top of the bar. It's like, this is my happy place. How cool is that? Anyway, I think it was Paramount? I think it was Paramount. And I thought, look, she said that, she went to cancel and she was offered a deal. So I went and checked it, and I went to cancel because I figured, look, I just cancel my cancellation or I'll just re-up again. One of the two. It was worth it for a test. And they did. They straight up offered 50% off my next 12 months. So I was just like, love that. Thank you. 50% off. So yeah. Oh yeah. And this is the other thing as well. Like Adobe Suite, you went to cancel my Adobe Suite to downgrade and they offered me 3 months free. So I took it. Then I'll cancel that and downgrade. You might find that if you took that 3 months free, you may have just locked yourself into another 12 months agreement. I would double check that. If you've agreed to 3 months free or 3 months discounted, it's usually followed by you will pay for the rest of the 12-month period. I got bit by that I think it was the very first time I'd signed up for Adobe back in the day. So yeah, let me have a look here. Livestream Consultant says they've got Canva, Google Workspace, website hosting, Epidemic Sound. I don't count my internet at the moment as my cell. It's my cell, and everything else I use as the free versions. Yeah, like that is very cool. That is very cool. Because we can narrow it down. This is the thing. It can blow out so fast and so easily, but you can sit down and work out, what do I use daily? What's my go-tos here? Because there's some things you just need, right? Like for me, the big one is the emails. I will do a lot before I cancel those. I quite like the my brain's Frankie says, oh, I hope not, but I'll definitely check. She's checked. And she says if I cancel before the end of term, it's like $25 or something, which is still way cheaper. That is awesome, because usually, like the last time I tried to cancel before the end of an agreed period, it was like $400. And I was like, man, I'm just going to keep using it. At least get access to the software. Growing to Live, it's great to see you. Oh, I've just realized we've got handles tonight or today. Because lots of us have actually got our usual, like Doug's is the same, Live Streaming Consultants is the same, Leanne's is the same. Frankie's is a little different, but I still understood who it was. Growing to Live, you've got 2040 after yours. Let me know in the chat if you, like those of you that have had to use a different one, like those of us that have got the same, we've obviously gone in, we've gone into the oh, my brain just totally quit on me. So those of us that have got the same handle of our channel name, we've already gone back in and changed our handles to make them match, right? Those of you that don't, is there a reason why you haven't changed your handle to match your channel name? So like I'm looking at Growing to Live 2040 and Valentine Station. Great to see you, Valentine Station. Like you've got 4275. Like, is there a reason that you haven't gone in and changed your handle to what you want it, like to match? Like, do those numbers or whatever it is mean something important to you? I'm just curious. And have you checked to see if you can just have the one you want? Because the other thing is somebody may already have it, so you can't actually change to it. So, you know, because sometimes that's the thing. But when I first went to set mine up, it did give me my name, but it did have the extra numbers at the end. And so I was just like, well, I don't want those numbers. Like, why do I have to have those numbers? So I backed it up and got rid of the numbers just to see if I could have it. And I could. So I'm just like, mine. And Fiberific was the same. Like, why would I want Fiberific like 7463 when I could just have Fiberific? Like, so I did. I changed that one too. So I was really lucky. I was actually able to get both the handles that I wanted. So, and I know that's not always the case. Valentine Station says no, but I will. So you can go in and check it. Nice to see everyone back. You're back from traveling. Oh, that is awesome. I hope you had a really good time. A change in YouTube Studio. Oh yeah. So, Doug, can you grab the handle change link? By any chance? I don't know if you are if you're on a computer or not, but it is pretty easy to change your YouTube handles. Yeah. But like that's the thing. Like, you know, you may not be able to have Valentine Station by itself, but then you could make it at least a bit more meaningful instead of like some string of numbers at the end. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have like Valentine Station, like isn't your station on like a particular route? You could put that number at the end of it, or route. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, you went to Vid Summit? Oh my gosh, was it amazing? I hope you had a really great time. I've been watching the replays and they look amazing. Livestream Consultants, when I did the initial research on names for what I wanted to do, I checked everything, YouTube, Facebook, Insta, Twitter, before I selected the name for the business, so it matched across all the platforms and emails. I too have done that. However, I had to make the decision with my name what to do about Twitter, because I couldn't have Chantelle Hills on Twitter. There is somebody else there already. They don't use their account. It hasn't been used in like 11 billion years, and I couldn't get it. So I chose Chantelle Hills 1, and then when I went in to make me Insta, I made the Insta match that. So yeah, it was just a bit weird. It was a little bit odd that I couldn't actually have my name, and I thought my name's a bit different. Like, why is that hard? Let's have a look. A totally amazing. So Growing to Life about Vid Summit, totally amazing. Got to meet Nick and Andrew and so many new creators. That is so awesome. And did you if you're just back now, like, did you travel around and stuff while you're over there? Did you have like a full on break? Because for some reason I thought Growing to Live you might be Australian, but maybe you're not. Maybe you're not, and I've just assumed you are. I don't know. You'll have to answer that question too. I nearly missed my mouth. I'm so used to drinking my tea and coffee during a live stream out of a Yeti that I nearly missed my mouth by using a normal coffee cup. Oh. I was so sad. The FOMO this year for VidSummit was, I think it was made worse by watching the live streams. I do. I think it was worse. I think it was worse than like just being able to just not do anything, just like blanket kind of thing and just look at it like from friends' socials and stuff like that. But because I watched the live streams, I could see people I work with. Oh, you live in Hawaii, but so not Texas local, but Hawaii. So okay, so you're like halfway. I was halfway, all right. But 3 weeks in Texas would be amazing. There's so much to see. Anyway, so with the VidSummit live streams, I really think that, because I would see like people I know walking across this, I'd be like messaging them like, oh my God, I see you. But yeah, it's one of those, and eat as well. I will say that I was probably very limited to what I got to try in Texas because I had to be within walking distance of the conference center. There was one meal that I was in a car for. That was a big group team meeting, like a team meal that we had at the end. And we went out for like proper ramen, which I'd never had. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fine, but some other people who are like ramen people were like, yeah, it was a bit ordinary. I was like, really? Because it was the best ramen I've ever had. So I obviously need to step up the ramen game a little bit. But it was delicious. It was really good. But yeah, I think the issue was that it turned out to be a vegetarian ramen place and they didn't want vegetarian. And I think that was the thing. But aside from that, it was very good. Very fast service. Everything was piping hot. It was wonderful. Live stream consultant says, I'm glad I did not go to VidSummit this year as I ended up in the hospital with the same thing that happened to me last year at VidSummit. Just got out of the hospital again. And not got the issue fixed. Oh, I'm kind of glad that you didn't have to go through that away from home again. Oh, you are halfway. Someday I'll get to the down under. Yeah. Valentine Station says, I love ramen too. Yeah, I'd never, look, I'm going to be really honest. The only ramen I'd had historically, off the top of my head, is like 2-minute noodles. You know, the ones that come that are all wiggly in the pack and you put them in. And I do cook them like differently. Like I do, zhuzh them up with some extra stuff and I add in like all sorts of goodies. But I'd never had like fresh ramen. So that was new. That was new for me. Definitely would like to try more for sure. The other things that I had were just like the restaurants around the convention center. So I'm just trying to think. The ones that I had was, well, obviously the one at the Texican, that one, I ate there a lot because it was just so good. I also had what's that bar directly across the street? Like going back in towards Dallas. What's that bar was called something? Oh, I don't know. The best ramen is in Japan. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Oh, you've got the issue fixed now. Oh, that's good. Oh, you got home yesterday. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you're home. I'm glad you're home and that the issue is fixed. That is also awesome. Oh, you were there with me on the live stream. VidSummit rocked. What were your favorite talks? Oh, look, I've got to go back in and watch a few more because some of them I was watching while moderating. So I haven't watched everything by itself yet. But one that I absolutely loved was Justin Smith's talk. It was one of the keynotes where he did like, let me know in the chat who's got replays because I don't want to give away you know, like what the deal is. So who's got access to replays? Because if I could recommend one, that one with Justin Smith, it says Justin Smith and Daryl Eves. So that one I would recommend for sure. I've been watching a lot of the Adobe presentations. They've all been fantastic. Even the one on Shorts. So there's one called he kept going slay shorts, slay the shorts. Anyway, it was the Adobe one about shorts, and even though I'm not like a shorts editor, I still thought it was fantastic. So yeah. If Larry was in the chat, he would have replays. Absolutely. If you're in the live stream, you should have replays. So let me, like, if you don't, let me know and I'll look into that. But live stream tickets also got replays. So if you're watching the live stream, you've got access to the replays. If you're in the building, you've got access to the replays. But you can also just buy the replays, which I think they're worth every cent personally. Oh, Maha, yes, she was fantastic. I sort of didn't know anything about her at all. So Cody Sanchez, I've watched a few bits and bobs of hers before, and I like her. I think she's great. But Maha was fantastic. I thought she was that's a phenomenal keynote. The editors panel I thought was really good as well. And I think part of that is because I'm watching them now with this new, I've got to catch back up on Premiere Pro. So I was just like watching everything that was like editor-esque, like the new things for editors. So there was the Adobe panel with Mike Polner and a couple of the bigger creators. That one was good. Then there was a couple of different ones that had like Hayden Hillier Smith in them. So look for the ones with Hayden Hillier Smith in the thumbnails. They were great as well. But yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot of good talks. But for me, the major standouts was Justin Smith and Maha. I'm not even going to try and say her surname. I will trash it, and I don't want to. Dan Norton was another one. Like back in the day, Dan Norton was the one who recommended that I join Primal Video. And so I went in and had a look at Primal Video Accelerator and joined that. And that's how that whole met Justin, started doing more YouTubey work. So without Dan recommending me to go to try out Justin Brown's Accelerator program, I probably wouldn't have known about it. And you know, like it changed the trajectory of things for me. So watching Dan's talk, so he had both his own talk for Pocket Monster, which was fantastic, but he also did a closing chat, which I don't think there's a replay for that one, but there was just some closing chat, and that was good as well. So I'm glad I got to watch that one live, because it wasn't really a talk. It was just like it was just a chat, really. It wasn't even that long. So, hey, Amazing Yacht Destinations, it's great to see you. So yeah, so and so I've got a list of like some more I haven't watched Roberto's or Nick's talks, which feels so wrong, but I should absolutely get in and watch both of those for sure. They're on my list. So let me know in the chat if you've seen one that I need to see. Because as I said, I wasn't able to watch everything with like the eye of somebody taking the information in. Some of the things I was watching, to be honest, I was watching 4 at once most of the time. And so, and watching the chats more than watching the content. So I've got to go back and rewatch all those, but I've watched most of the workshops now. So they've been pretty cool. Oh, if you're in the US, there's a workshop from Nate Coffrin, the cookie finance guy. I learned so much about the US taxation for creators and small businesses just by watching his stuff, that I was just like, man, everyone needs to watch this. Everyone needs to watch it. So if you're in the US and you haven't watched the cookie finance stuff, Nate does a really great chat. He is really solid. And so he's got a workshop video up there. Go and watch that. I can't remember what it was called. It was something like Next Level. I'm just going to open it up and check. Vidsummit.tv. Oh, if you're going for the replays, remember to go to vidsummit.tv, not .com. Let me look here. 2025. Oh, sorry. And I totally missed out Linus's talk, which I'm a major Linus fan. Major Linus fangirl. So that one was amazing. All right, let me just find what this Nate one's called. Okay, it is the one with the sleigh. It's called Slay On short form content. So I'm remembering the right stuff. It's the thumbnail just says ask a creator CPA with workshop on it, and it's Nate Coffrin. So that one's amazing. Then there was the 20 features that creators love from Adobe. That was great as well. And then the Creator Law School from Chelsea Morrie. That one was really, really interesting. It wasn't really my sort of, like, I wasn't expecting to get into it as much as I did, but I really did enjoy that one. Yeah, I'm a Linus groupie. Like, oh look, I happen to have a Linus Tech Tip screwdriver right here, and this mouse pad is Linus Tech Tips. And my cable management is, I'm just seeing if I've got something handy I can do. There we go, look, magnetic cable management from Linus. Yeah, where did you go? There you go, you can go there. I'm gonna have to rerun a cable because I just ripped that off and now all the cables have dropped. I'm just looking around, look. If I could guarantee the shirts would fit, I would buy the shirts. Look. I brought this one home last year from VidSummit, right? And Abby tried to steal it. So I had to buy my daughter her own Linus Tech Tips screwdriver. So she's got a purple one. I like the orange and black, but she's got the purple and white one. Yeah. So far, I have not gotten anything from him that, like, from, any of his products that have been bad. I am my only regret with my desk pad was not buying a bigger one, because I thought, I won't need anything bigger. But I should have just gone a little bit bigger. Speaking of a little bit bigger, because it walks towards the back of the desk, and I don't like that. So yeah, so Linus's was great. I'm just having a quickie squiz to see if there's any of the others. The Travis Chambers one. So he was the one on how he built a viral hotel in the middle of nowhere. I'd actually watched some of his stuff because of, like, a couple of months back, I was following the Cody Sanchez path, and I caught her chatting with John Ushai, I think was the first time I saw her chatting. So she was chatting with her on a John Ushai thing, and then I saw her on the creator CEO, or that guy, who's that guy, the dark skinned Brit guy who, like, chats to all the bigwig CEOs. She did one with him. So yeah, just and I saw the guy with the destination hotel through hunting her stuff down. Let me looky here. Look, and I haven't watched Renee's yet. I need to watch Renee's. I would like to watch John Ushai's and Mario's as well. Yeah, there's a few. There's a few I need to go back and watch. Livestream Consultant says they almost over-test their products. Yeah, but you know what? I think I would prefer that. I'm a bit tired of buying things that just turn out to be crap. Like they get endorsed. Someone's like, this is great. Go and get this thing. And then you get it and you're like, that's not what I thought it was. I've just realized my big monitor, the mount on the desk is angled and it's only being held on by a little bit. I'm going to have to play with that after the stream. I hope that doesn't fall down. That's like my 32-inch curved monitor. It'd be like, poof. Like, oh my gosh. Let's just hope that's not foreshadowing. But Valentine Station said, I got so much value from that in coming up with a Route 66 car theme camp. Camp Lugnut. Oh. Frankie says, I didn't get the replays this year. Still thinking about it. I know it's not the cheapest. I really do, but there's some fantastic chats. There's a lot of good content. But I would say my top favorites that I've seen that I would watch again even is Maha, Linus, Justin, and Nate Coffrin, his workshop. And I'm just scrolling so I can see faces and names. And all the Adobe stuff, all the Adobe ones, all the workshops. My one regret is because I wasn't there, I couldn't, like, Adobe were running like little mini sessions like constantly throughout the entire event. And there's no video footage of most of those. And so I'm like, man, I want them. I want to watch those. Frankie says, I bought 2023 and then 124. I'm getting FOMO though. Oh, sorry, Frankie. I hate being the cause of FOMO, but I think that the quality of the talks is what's causing the FOMO, honestly. But yeah, and you'll get it after you go back to work. Yeah, that's the big thing. It's not inexpensive, but it's one of those things. It's like, to me, it's still worth the cost. Do you know what I mean? Like, so even before I started working for Vid Summit, I bought, let me just think here. I think I've got like, I want to say 2018, 2019. I don't think I got 2020. I've definitely got 2022 and 2023. And so I bought all those replays. I'm sure there's another one in there somewhere. I'm not sure if what the gap is from 2019 to the next one. It's a few years, but yeah, it's one of those things. Livestream consultant says, I plan to go in person next year. It is awesome in person. It is awesome in person. And I know it's an investment, especially if you are traveling from outside of the US, right? And it's not just the cost of the airfares, it's the cost of everything, because from Australia, our dollar is so weak, right? So our dollar is only worth, I think, like 65 cents or something. So every time you spend money, it's a lot more. It's a lot more. So, you know, like, so Vid Summit tickets aren't $1,000. They're more like $1,500. And to put that into perspective, that's the equivalent of like half a month's rent for most people, you know, and so it's like, then there's the airfares, which like at one, like I got offered like basically the exact same airfares the exact same flights that I took last year for half of the price. So it's like going to be $1,600 or $1,700 or something for returns. And I kept checking it because I'm like, no, that's got to be one way. But no, it was definitely a return. There was a massive sale. And so I was just like, but the year before, that was $3,500. So yeah, so there's that. But then there's also the cost of the accommodation, the cost of food, the cost of travel, like the transfer travel, like Ubers and stuff like that. So you can go and stay further away, but then you've got to get back to the event. So yeah, there's lots of things. And Valentine Station is right. You can volunteer. That is a great way to get a ticket. It's a lot less expensive, but also then your time isn't your own either. You've got work to do. You're not there just to hang out and go and see sessions. You'll be given a task and you need to perform that task. And you'll definitely get to see some sessions for sure, but you'll get to be there for all the after hours stuff, which is insane. So yeah, it's one of these things. Frankie says, I wanted to go this year, but I wasn't well enough. I'm still on my bucket list as my sister lives in the US, so can make it a big trip. That is awesome. That is awesome. Growing to Live says Vid Summit was worth it, and I'm planning to go next year also. Because that's the thing, I think. A lot of us are like, oh, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because it is expensive. But once you go once, then you're like, man, I need to get back there. I need to go back. And so I'm going to pre-warn you, because I didn't think I'd be that person. I thought I'm going to get to go once and that's going to be amazing and then I'll be happy. The answer is no. No, you want to go back. You want to go back and do it again and catch up again with those people that you met last time. Catch up with new people. You know, like I really honestly thought if I got to go once, then that would be enough. And I'm like insanely grateful I got to go. But now I'm like, I think now it's worse when I don't get to go because I know how good it is. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. And I was working. So I didn't get to have like my time as this is why I know the volunteer thing may not be the right fit for everybody. Because like my time wasn't my own either. So, it was, I still had a freaking amazing time though. And I still had time. Like I still had to have dinner. Who am I going to have dinner with? Or my friends, you know, like, and in the lead up to the event, I was able to have breakfast with people and have lunches with people and stuff like that. So yeah, because I had to get there a couple of days early because, you know, I did not know how I was going to go with jet lag because I've never done a trip like that before. And I'm glad I got there a couple of days early. I really am. I'm really glad that I was able to, that I had the luxury of being able to have the extra couple of days. So I got there on the Saturday and I needed to start working on the Monday. So I needed that. I got there Saturday night. So I had Saturday night. Well, I got there late Saturday afternoon. So Saturday afternoon and evening, then slept for Sunday, slept in Sunday and then had lunch and then went and did some work on Sunday afternoon just because I could. And then Monday, that was when I started working. So yeah, I needed those extra couple of days. I don't think I could get there Sunday and be as efficient. So yeah, it's one of those things. Growing to Live says, the energy is great and meeting so many creators is awesome. Yeah, it is. Frankie says, I'm such a raging introvert though. I'm afraid I'll go and just waste the opportunity walking around staring at my feet. Frankie, one thing that's really important for people to understand, and for you and me, this was something I learned. It turns out that something like, it feels like 90% of the people that go are introverts, right? So there's a lot of fun stuff that introverts get into. And while it's big and while it's busy, there's plenty of space to step away and be on the outskirts and look in and make the decision, okay, next I'm going to go and do this, but right now I just need a minute. It's nearly like it's so bizarre to explain. It's nearly like it's a conference designed for introverts. So many creators, so many YouTube creators are introverted. We create in our spaces. Like we have our happy place and this is where we create. We talk about the thing that we're most passionate about. You know, and that gives us the energy. So it's not the people around us that gives us the energy. That's what gives us the energy. Yeah, it's 4 floors. There's 4 floors of space. And that's not even including if you want to go outside and get some air. They do a couple, there's at least last year, there was a couple of things outside as well. So you could go and do that. But yeah, live stream consultants here, that's not me. No, you're definitely not an introvert. But yeah, so it is 4 floors and there's spaces where you can just go off. There's room to, it's not a crushing pressure of people at all time. It's just not. There's plenty of space. Frankie says, yeah, I feel like I can have friends doing YouTube without feeling pressure to be around people. Yeah. Yep. And it's nearly like, I don't know, like Nick Niven described it the best, and because he's an introvert as well, but it's like, it's one of these things where and I'm an introvert too. And so I was able to sort of like, well, I had to be in certain places for work. And luckily for me, that did mean I had a table between me and most people, which is awesome. I really like that. I like to have that space. When I was building my stands for Fiberific, when I'd go down to Bendigo Sheep and Wool Station, I don't think I've got a thing for Vid Summit. I really should, shouldn't I? But I don't. I should definitely have a thing for Vid Summit. Whoops. But I used to build like think like craft shows and stuff and like little events. Most people make their stands really accessible for people to get through and touch all the things, and then they're just sort of standing off to the side to take the money. And nope. I'm not going to cope at an event for 3 days where I've got, like we had 2 or 3 people working on my stand, and there were people, 4 deep at times waiting to be served. That's too many people. There's way too many people for me. So I would actually get in, work out where my stand was, and then set my tables up so people could walk around the whole outside U shape. So I would bring it across so that my stand didn't bump up directly with the stand next to me. I allowed enough room for people space in there. And so I would shrink down sort of my table space to match this because I needed to be on the other side of the table. So yeah. Frankie says, I can do a live stream to a bunch of strangers, no issue. Put me in a room with more than 3 people and I'm useless. Yeah, I understand that. Definitely. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I 100% relate to that. I do a lot of standing and listening at Vid Summit. Just like, and I'm very lucky, having friends who are there like Doug, like Nick, where I could sort of be there and listen to conversations and it wouldn't look out of place that I was passive. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't look like I was being standoffish, and it didn't look like from the outside observer. Or at least I don't think so. I could be wrong. Doug be sitting there like, no. It looked like she was a stunned mullet the whole time. But yeah, it was a bit overwhelming. I'll be honest. I was the one thing I will say, and I'm assuming it was the same this year, is that when you walk in to this space filled with people who are all passionate about the same thing you are. So everyone is a creator of some description or wants to be a creator or is working with creators, right? There was just this wall of positive excitement that you just walked in and you could feel. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just this hugely positive place. There was no talking down to small creators. There was no, and being a perpetually small creator, I get defensive because like anytime someone asks me my channel size, I just sort of like instantly, like as in subscriber numbers. But I did not get asked that a single time at Vid Summit. It just, and then I came back to Australia and went to a Changer meetup, and the first question I got asked was how many subscribers are on your channel, and it was just like this, like just in your face. Well, that's the difference, because here they don't care about that. They're too busy making content and too busy building their businesses, and they're too busy learning it, you know what I mean, to be judging. Well, and not to say that these people at these other meetups are judging, but in my brain they are. But it's not to say they are. That's me projecting. But yeah, it was just a totally different feel, and it was all positive. It was just all this excitement and positivity. Growing to Live says it was totally like there was a buzz in the air. The energy was strong in the building. Excuse me. The energy was strong in the building. Not one person asked my channel size. And it's like all of these people just know that it actually doesn't matter. Like, because part of it is, You could be talking to someone who doesn't actually have a channel. That could be a brand wanting to look for creators. You could be, you don't know, like when you're first meeting people, unless of course you know them. But yeah, it's just this, I don't know how to describe it. You kind of got to go and feel it. But it definitely is like you open the doors to the convention center and you've got to go through this wall of just positivity. It was so weird. It was such a weird experience. I'm not used to it. Livestream Consultant says, it is a place where no matter your channel size, you could talk to anyone, including Renee Ritchie, Daniel Batal, Nick Nim. Yeah, there was like, because I've done VidCon a couple of times. Not the USA. When VidCon came to Australia, they came here for 3 years. It was fantastic, and I wish they would come back. But anyway, but all of the bigger creators, all of the sort of special named people, you had to have a pass to get past a certain point. There was a whole section that you weren't allowed. Now, I had the pass on the last year, but the first 2 years I didn't. But you had to go through this sort of, it was not a pass that could be purchased. It was a pass that you had to earn or be in the know or know someone who could get it, kind of thing. And that's where all the speakers and the creators were when they weren't on stage. And then they're brought on stage through back rooms. So there's no hallway talks, nothing. Now, I'm only talking from the Australian VidCon experience. But in the walking around, you just about never saw somebody whose channel that I'd watch, like a YouTube educator or anything like that. I remember trying to catch up with Daryl Eves, and we'd been messaging backwards and forwards for a couple of weeks before the event, and he was just like really looking forward to getting to see you there. Well, then it turned out that he never made it outside of like either it was the industry section or those extra, creator lounges. And so we never actually I didn't actually get to see him because he didn't even do a talk outside of the industry track. And that year was my first year and I only had a creator pass. I didn't have an industry pass. So I didn't even get to hear him talk. So that was really weird. And like, cause I'm messaging him, I'm like, where are you? And then we could see each other, but we were on opposite sides of this barricade and I couldn't get through it. So yeah, like my pass didn't allow it. And he was, only had a few minutes. So he wasn't going to come back out and then go back through. But yeah, it was, we don't have that at VidCon, at VidSummit, sorry. It's just not like that. I was really lucky that the last year that VidCon came to Australia, I had a friend who knew people and they needed there was a mess up and they didn't have a room to stay in, and I let them take the single bed in my room, and as a thank you, they got me access to all this stuff. So I actually got to go in and see it all and look at it. And then even in the area where all the creators and speakers were, there was still a section that was locked off, and basically you didn't get to go and see any of those people at all. You just had to be big. There was no other way through. So like all the Try guys and everyone like that, they were on the other side of the thing. I did get to hang out with Hank Green, which was a bucket list thing. It wasn't even on my bucket list. It was so far beyond a bucket list that I did. Didn't you room with Molly Kay one year? No. No. So at VidCon, I had my own, like VidCon Australia, I had my own room for the first 2 years. And then the third year I shared with Matt McKenna. And so, yeah, it was just, it was phenomenal. Because a funny story about that was he got to the room before me, and I was still waiting to get on my plane, and he's rung me and he's like, hey, is it okay if I invite a couple of friends up? And I was just like, yeah, no problems. And I get there and it was like this top level creative speaker party in my hotel room. I was just like, And I kind of buzzed in, and then someone's just like, should you be in here? Because like they didn't know who I was. I'm like, and then Matt Simmy goes, yeah, this is her room. So it was this weird thing. It was so weird. And yeah, so it was very odd, but it was also phenomenal memories. And that's the thing I love about Bid Summit as well, is just those memories can happen for everybody. Maybe not the hotel room thing, but the rest of it. You can turn up to a bar or a restaurant in the surrounding areas and just end up sitting at a table with a pile of creators, having dinner and having just a great conversation with amazing people. So yeah. It's like some YouTube fever dream. Absolutely. Livestream consultant says, absolutely. I did get to talk with Renee Ritchie and with Daniel Batal and Brian G. Johnson and Jay Alto and Nathan Black and others last year. Yeah. I missed this one. Yes, totally true. I'm sure I was talking with creators with millions of followers and they were all so down to earth and willing to share. And isn't that the thing? Because that's the big thing. They are willing to talk about pretty much anything. There's no like gatekeeping. There's no like, oh, sorry, well, I'm not going to tell you that I, have a production house in-house and this is how I hired my first hire. If you say, hey, how did you choose your first hire? They will tell you the story. Like, obviously, time permitting, but they will tell you. It's not like a gatekeeping thing. It's like a time thing. It's the difference. The dinner chats were awesome. Dinner chats were phenomenal because everyone's off the clock, right? So it's just fun. It's just fun. Yeah. I don't know how, like, my intention today was not to wax lyrical about Vid Summit for an hour, but that's what's happened. Sorry if you don't care about Vid Summit. Oh, that's a really kind thing to say. My two best dinner talks were with Doug Houston and Chantelle Hills, hand down. I loved hanging out with you guys while I was there, and I really miss not being able to do that this year. And I think that's where a lot of my FOMO has come from. So it's the talks, phenomenal. The workshops, phenomenal. The hands-on at like Adobe and what have you, phenomenal. All those things are great. The things that I really, really missed was chatting with you guys that I'd met before, like the previous year, chatting with my team. So most of the time I work alone here and with the occasional Slack message and the even rarer phone call, right? And the near non-existent, I think last year I had a video call. But for the most part, it's very, very communicatively quiet. Being able to meet everybody face to face that I worked with last year, I'd only been working with them for a couple of months. I was still feeling like I was going to get fired any moment. And because that's what my brain does, all right? Like if I'm not being like given feedback on something, I feel like, oh, they must have hated it so much they don't know a nice way to tell me it was rubbish. I know that's where my brain goes. And it's so far from the truth. Anyway, being able to meet everybody was fantastic. Put faces to names, being able to like just catch up with everybody was phenomenal. And then this year I'd worked with everybody for like a whole year. So yeah, it was just different. That's so cool. Totally got to sit down and talk with Nick. He is great. Nick is phenomenal. And at these events, like, so Nick is a serious introvert, right? But he just packs all that down and just gives the whole time he's there. Like, you didn't see Nick at any stage without him chatting with people. Like, well, at least I didn't. It just hands down always talking with people, sitting with people, having a coffee, having dinner, like just so kind. Just come in, ask your questions. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't know how he did that, to be honest. Like as another introvert, I'm not quite sure how I would go, like, I know, like, especially when I'm teaching and things like that, I can sort of tamp down the nature of wanting to escape. Whereas that's usually like a few hours at a time. And then I need to like go and like sit quietly. Like I know after Vid Summit this year, I had like there was a thing for mastery class for Channel Jumpstart, and I was in on that, and just sort of to get an idea of how this stuff ran. And at one point, I was just like, I am literally going to burst into tears in a second. I'm just so 100% overwhelmed right now, and I had to step out of the room and just sort of I ended up going back to my hotel for a little while. I was so just overwhelmed, and I'd made it through the week. This was the Friday. I'd made it through the week, and it was just like at this one point where I was just like, I just have to go now. And I'd sort of stepped up quietly and walked out of the room. And as I was walking out, my boss, who I work with all the time, he's seen me, and he was just like, because he was coming back from something to come back into the room, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I need a minute." And he's like, "Did something happen?" I'm like, No, nothing happened. It's been a lot this week. And I think it's just all hit me. And he was like, "Okay, all right." So I did. And then we went out and had lunch later. But yeah, I just needed that minute. I just needed just to step away. So I don't know how Nick does it. I don't know. Yeah, you did not expect me to be as tall as I was. Doug and I look like flanking bodyguards on either side of me. Yes. That is so true. You guys are all so tall. Everyone is like, that was a big thing, especially when I first met Nick. Like, I knew Nick was tall, you know, logically, in my brain. But then when you get a neck crane, because like, oh, this hurts now, because it's so tall, yeah. And then you're taller than Nick. So I was just like, oh my goodness, okay. Yeah, and I'm like 5'2", you know. So it's hilarious. It's hilarious. I'm considerably shorter than most of you, I think. Valentine Station says, Chantelle, let's be real. Us introverts always know where the exits are. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like within seconds of you walking into a room, you know how to get back out of it. Either back through that door or that space. You absolutely work it out. Absolutely. Now, I'm not quite sure why that got flagged, but let's put it back in. So yeah, it's just, look, if you can do it, yeah, we're like assassins. We absolutely are. We know all the exits, and we instantly know which people to avoid. Like, because the spidey senses kick in, and it's just like, I don't know if that's like an introvert plus kind of thing. But yeah, there's some people that just instantly like, I'm instantly like, nope, and just back away. Didn't get that with any of you guys, I will be honest. But yeah, it's I was at a Brisbane creator meetup, and someone said to me, like, because it was a pretty small group, it's like, oh, you haven't got much time to chat with such and such. I'm like, no, it's cool. And then we were coming home later, and then this person's like, because we're walking back to our cars, and this person was like, oh yeah, it really seems like this other person is just, a bit of a user, like wants to use your connections for things. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, but you knew that. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, I don't know. It's a spidey sense. Of that. Like, I was just like, this person is like not a safe person to chat with. As in, like, just use all your information and cast you aside. Livestream says, no, it's a thing. When you live in certain areas, you learn to be very observant of people, places, doors, exits. Yeah, yep. I think so. And But yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it is definitely an interesting, um, because my husband's not an introvert, right? Like not at all. And so he doesn't always like understand my reluctance and things, and is like that, well, if you just go out you'll have fun, and quite often he's right. Like I'm sort of more of a social introvert, so while I don't get energy from the people I'm with, I still enjoy being with the people, right? And so I at least have that. But then I come home and I am just, don't even talk to me for just like, yes, I just need a couple of hours of just nothing, of just no talking, don't interact, no. We'll do a recap of the event later. I just need a moment. So yeah, so he's had to learn that over the years. So like we'll go out, we'll go and do stuff, and then we'll come home and I'll just need a moment. Usually it starts in the car. The second I get in the car, it'll just be like no talking, no nothing, which I know is something you guys can't relate to with me because I seem to be able to talk a lot. But right here, I'm in my space with my things, and my people, my family are out there doing their things. So yeah, it's different. It is different. Man, I'm just watching this monitor stand. I don't even know how it's still on, to be honest, and I don't know how I'm going to get to it. It's at the. I'm going to have to like get a footstool or something. Oh, I could lower the desk a little bit. But anyway, sorry. But yeah, just doing events, any events when you're an introvert, you sort of really do have to know where you can go for a recharge, especially if your hotel's not close. I know I did like my first VidCon in Australia. I made the mistake of booking in a less expensive hotel further away. That was a bad decision. Firstly, I busted my knee up getting back to my hotel one night on the last night here. On the last night at the event. So luckily I went back to the hotel, packed up my stuff, and then I had to catch a cab to the airport. I couldn't catch the bus because my knee was so bad. But yeah, it's just, it's one of these sort of things where I try to book my hotel as close as possible as I can to the event. So if I do need to make it like a little escape, because usually what I'll do is I'll go back to my room and I'll sit down and I'll make a cup of tea and I'll drink it in the silence, and then I'll go back to the event. I don't need hours. I just need a moment. Amber says, I'm not an extrovert. Extrovert here. I'll talk to anyone. I'll talk to a lot of people. Livestream consultant says, well, there's a simple test. When you go out and sit down dinner, which way do you face? You'll never see me sit with my back to the establishment's entrance. Yeah. Yep. Got to be able to see. I back to the wall. I don't like, I like to be able to see out. I also like to be the side of the bed closest to the door. Some people are like, I like the left side, I like the right side. I don't care. I like the side closest to the door. So that I can, be out the door the fastest. I don't know why, but my brain just went, that's your side there. That's your side there. That's your spot there. Like whenever we're staying anywhere. So my husband now he doesn't care. He's like, oh, look, there's a pillow. He doesn't care. But luckily, because apparently I do. So, we all have our little things. And luckily, there are some people that don't do this, that don't want to sit, that don't mind sitting with their back to the entrance, because otherwise only half of the chairs would ever be full. So yeah, and I think the other thing for me is, and it's so bizarre, if I know the person I'm sitting with is hypervigilant like I am, then I know they'll keep an eye on the door, and I can sit with my back to the door. It's going to depend on who I'm with and if I feel safe. So, and it's not like someone's done something, but no. It's not. It's just a hypervigilance thing for no real reason. So, but yeah, isn't it bizarre? Humans are weird. And when we're doing this, when we're live streaming, when we're creating our content, we are already in our safe space, usually. Like, I know there's some of you that do things out and about and go and have adventures out of this. But that's not me. Uh, that part doesn't matter in our houses. We all have enough pew-pews to protect everyone. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. No, we don't do that here. So yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. Look, knock wood. I've never had my home broken into. No one's ever forcibly entered my home, as far as I'm aware. I'm just trying. I don't know about when I was a kid, but definitely not not in the eras that I remember. Nothing like that's ever happened. So, luckily for me, and I am going to knock wood because there've been some local thugs around. But yeah, just it's just a bizarre thing how different brains are wired in different ways, and I don't understand the science of it. I can't really speak to it on that level, but I know how my brain works, and I know I think I know how my brain works. I definitely know some of the things that trigger it negatively and trigger it positively. So I try to avoid those and do more of those. So, we just have to get through. We have to get through. We have talked about nothing live streaming. We did talk about Premiere Pro right at the start and about some of the cool new features. So I do want to jump back in there for a second. So those of you that have been keeping an eye on the Premiere Pro things, what are some of the new features that they're talking about rolling out that you are interested in? So one of the ones that I really liked the idea of, which was in one of the workshops, and it was just brushed on really quickly, was how they're going to make this thing so that you can extend your video. So it's incorporating Firefly within the Premiere Pro workframe. Like, how they brought in Enhance, so you can just click Enhance on your audio track within Premiere Pro now. You don't actually have to take the audio out and edit it in Audition or take it to the Enhance website and do anything. You can just click a button and it automatically does it for you. They're going to be doing something similar with Firefly within the Premiere timeline, so that you can say, hey, I want to add this into the background. So it's just sort of bringing them together, which I love. I think it's going to be great. Tacos are definitely a good trigger. Look, I got a thing for those tacos, man. I got a thing for those tacos. They were amazing tacos. Now, admittedly, I've only had what we call white person tacos in Australia. Ground beef, tortillas or crispy shells. I'm not a big fan of the crispy shells. I like a soft wrap, but the ground beef with some cheese and some lettuce and some tomato and some salsa, maybe some sour cream. That's a white person taco. That's what I call a white person taco. But that's not what I got. That's so not what I got, and it was amazing. So. Frankie says they recently incorporated all of Film Impact's effects, so that was a big reason. I didn't even know that one. So that's amazing. So I definitely want to go and check that out. And the new Premiere app. So if you're on iOS for now, I know that they're planning on rolling it out to Androids as soon as they can, but it's on iOS. So you can start editing on your phone. You can create things on the go. I haven't tried it. Because I'm old and blind. I would like my monitors bigger, please. I'm not oh man. No, I big monitors. And that's a big thing. Oh look, I'm going to be able to go and do some work at this other place, but I'm just going to have my laptop screen, and even then I'm do I want to? I've only got a 14-inch laptop screen. So yeah, 90 new effects, and that you can now rotoscope directly in Premiere Pro. Yeah. I like big monitors, and I cannot lie. Absolutely. I like that too. Yeah, no, I definitely like big monitors. I like to be able to see everything in clear detail. I should probably go and get my eyes tested again. It's been a hot minute since I've had them done. I'm pretty sure I'm overdue for new glasses. So that could make a difference. Good chance that could make a difference. So yeah. But yeah, I'm not a big and everyone's like, oh, you could do this on your phone, you could do that on your phone, and I'm like, no. The whole stream, I've been on delay. Oh no! Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Oh, I'm so sorry, Doug. I'm so sorry. Frankie says no point me having a 4K monitor and have it 720 eyes. Oh, look, this is one of the things, like when everyone's like, oh, you don't need to do your content in 4K, you only need 1080p or 720 or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, record it in 4K. Like if you've got the ability to record and edit in 4K, record it in 4K. Because when you zoom in, like if you need to zoom in for shots, you still have amazing crispiness. Whereas if you recorded it in 1080p and then you got to zoom in, everything goes fuzzy. Anyway, but yes, I get the joke. I do get the joke, but that's a pet peeve of mine. Like I live stream in 1080p. I have 4K camera. I want the best possible start to what I've got there. My phone was just flashing. Oh, it was just telling me that I'm still super happy. So, you know, because I've got a stress app on my watch to track what's stressing me out. Turns out one of the things that stresses me out is planning to have a talk to someone about something that they might perceive as negative. Having the chat doesn't stress me out. It's the needing to have a chat thing. It's so weird. But yeah, that was something new. That was something I learned about myself by having the stress app. I stress about the potential conversation, not about the actual conversation. Anyway, welcome to Chantelle's brain. But yeah, it's like it's one of those things. I get that not everybody can edit in 4K. I get it. I really do. It's really heavy on your devices, on your machinery. But if you start with that 4K footage, you've got a lot more options. So, and you can also, like a lot of the editing softwares will let you edit a proxy, which means it's not bringing in the 4K footage the whole time. So, which app I need to keep my heart rate down? I'm using, it's on iPhone, and it's just called Stress Watch, I think. Let me just Stress Watch. Yeah. Oh, it took your fans out. No, it didn't take my fans out. My fans were out is the problem. So on my laptop, my fans died. Well, my left-hand fans died. But what it was is they were dead from I don't know when, but when I started putting my laptop under stress, like actually getting it to work, that's when it was telling me, hey, something's not going right here. I tried to live stream from it. I wanted to test out the difference of Ecamm on the one M1 versus the M3 about 3-4 months ago. And the second I plugged in, everything had started beeping. And I was like, that is so weird. And then it stopped doing it and I totally forgot about it for a bit. And then when I started editing, and these Premiere files that I've been doing, they're only 1080p. It was stressed out under 1080p. So, because I don't get to choose the footage is 1080p. But yeah, so it had its little conniption. I'm just patting my laptop here. It had its little conniption because of 1080p files. I don't know what it would have done if it was 4K. It probably just would have gone, nope. Nope, not happening. But yeah, no, it seems to be pretty good. Look, I've just got the free version. I didn't pay for the actual thing, so I don't get all the data, but I get enough to just sort of help me keep a little eye on where things are at. And you know, it just every now and again, it just lets me know, oh, by the way, whatever it is you're doing right now, it makes you really happy. So yeah, or your stress levels are just so non-existent. Like whatever it is that you're doing is awesome. Just keep doing that. So yeah, look, it's a free app. I'm having no problems with it. On that note, my friendly friends, I'm going to run away. I've got to go and get some other stuff done today. I've got to get a couple of videos edited, and something very exciting for me is I need to hem some new curtains, which is, I've got to edit videos first, but the curtains also need hemming. So that's my plan for today. I will catch you all here next week, or in Doug's stream, or in Nick's stream. And, oh, Frankie says, pray for me, I'm going to IKEA. My curtains came from IKEA. That's why they're so long. Love IKEA. All right. You all be good, and I will catch you next time. Bye now.